Okay, sick. Okay, so you were um okay, tell me first, like, what was your involvement in Westflix? You were 2019, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So just can you like describe your involvement in the festival and sort of like what you did?
Of course. So actually, funnily enough, I started my first intro to Harvard Westlake was like back in 2012. I went to a Harvard Westlake Film Festival and was like, that's the best thing ever. And I was like, I want to be a part of that in any way I can. So I started, I think it was my sophomore year, like judging films and doing all that. And so I was involved in it from the very beginning. And then I knew I wanted to be a director in some sort. And I did, video art with Sherry Galki all 4 years. And that was the year, actually, my final year. I think it was Sherry's, either it was she had fully transitioned, like she had retired already. Or it was her last festival. I can't remember. But anyways, I ended up being a co-director with Jake Grode and Kat Swander. And our Westflix, I think, was the last one that was at the Cinerama, or maybe it wasn't at the Dome. Maybe the Dome was already, no, the Dome was there. It wasn't at the Dome, but the Dome was still there and hadn't closed down yet. And we had Bo Burnham speak. Amazing. And I still have the photo of us together. He's like 7 feet tall. Um, but yeah, that was my involvement, 2019 director.
Okay. Can you like describe the process of planning the festival and just like a few like highlights of organizing the whole thing as a director?
Yeah. So actually, so I was there. We had three different like roles, and mine was focusing on director of submissions. And I had to facilitate uh, judging, so the student judges, and making sure we got people involved and engaged on campus. Which luckily there were a lot of people, and I don't know if it's still like this, but people that know about Westflix because
Yeah.
it's been going on for so long. Yeah, and they're excited to like be involved in film making in the film world. So it was not very difficult to get people to judge, and then also working with Mr. Walsh, who has sadly left us, but to figure out who we wanted to speak and what we wanted the event to look like. And the next day, I forgot about the next day, how much planning that involved and who we want to speak there, and like, you know, how that program looks, and making sure it's diverse and inclusive and including different types of media, but also different types of people. So we had Hans Zimmer, and then this incredible VR artist. And like, I actually don't know who thought of this person, but expanding beyond just like short films and student filmmaking and finding newer forms of media was an interest for our year.
Okay, awesome. Um, so can you like sort of like transport us to the night of the festival and like the day following? What was it like to like see it all come together and watch all the films and meet all the filmmakers and hear everybody speak?
It was so exciting. And actually, random anecdote, I was just uh, in a class, like now I'm a part-time student. It's my last year at NYU. And I hadn't met this kid before, but he goes, wait, were you the director of Westflix? And I was like, I was. He was like, my film was in it and I was there. And I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. And he goes to NYU now. But anyways, the day of the night, it was amazing. I remember being really nervous and like not sure what to wear. And me and Kat, the other director, were like, we went after school to her house, got ready. I remember I wore my mom's like pantsuit. I was like, Mom, can I borrow your pants? um, and then we did the red carpet interviews, seeing people come, meeting all these filmmakers that the films you've been seeing, because you watch them the first round, then you do the second round of judging, and then the third, and it's like, oh my God, you're the guy that did No Way.
Yeah.
And there's so many different personalities and people excited about film, and talented people. So that was exciting. And um then Bo Burnham shows up, and that happened. And then he sits down. And I remember all that hard work going in and seeing it come to life and be in a big theater and see these films up on the big screen was an incredible experience for me and for everyone I remember in my year that was involved. And then the next day was also really exciting because I almost feel like you have that connection with people on the first night, and then you see them again in this more casual and learning setting, and you guys are like not dressed, I guess, to the nines, shall we say. And you go in all with that same, everyone was just so excited and like to learn, and like these people that came were so excited to tell us. And thinking back to it, it's like, I say this now, but I'm just, I'm 22. But I was so young and we were so young. Even though it was only whatever 4 or 5 years ago, but it's like, it's crazy that these people that we looked up to were so excited to give us this knowledge and like impart on us like this creative spirit. Yeah, I don't know if that was helpful, but
that's so helpful. That's amazing. Okay. So I know you go to NYU, you go to Tisch, right? Okay.
Yep.
So can you like sort of discuss how like Westflix, if in any way, has like shaped your like artistry or like your career path or like your time as a student, and like what that's been like you still do like video and like art stuff, so yeah, can you just like talk about how Westflix kind of informed that?
I think for me, like I went into Tisch thinking, okay, I'm probably someone who wants to be more on the business side of film, as opposed to a lot of people that go in and are pure artists and just want to direct and write or be more on the technical side. And I think Westflix gave me this opportunity to, at a very young age and start in my career, to understand what it takes to produce an event, which is something that is not taught, and unless you do it, it's very hard to understand. But for someone who's more interested in, let's say, producing or development, that was so helpful. And then Westflix actually got me, I ended up doing an internship next at the Nashville Film Festival, and then I was a programmer at NYU's Fusion Film Festival. So I continued to work in the film festival space. And I think now my current job is I intern at A24 and I'm have a full-time job there after school. And just having Westflix as an intro into the film world and like on my resume was super helpful as a building block. And then I'm trying to think what else. What was the second? Is there a second part?
I mean, no, that was like just the whole thing. But yeah, no, it's such an interesting, like, I don't think even I like fully understood until this year how like logistically intensive it is to like plan just like every aspect of it. So yeah, no, that's so cool. That it was kind of like an introduction for you that way.
I can add one other now that I'm thinking about it more. Just in terms of the pure volume of like films you're evaluating, having that like scope of things, because now when I'm working in development and it's all these script coverages and acquisitions and we're going to film festivals, like I was just at the Berlin Film Festival, and like you start to generate your taste for film and you see what you gravitate towards and see like what excites you just based off seeing 300 400 student films and new voices. And so having a base to create like what my filmic taste was going to be from just a ton of shorts was super informative, and for myself as an artist, extremely inspiring to see what is possible and push. Like I just did my senior thesis short film, and actually really random, there was a Westflix film that had like animation mixed with live action in the year that I was there. Mm-hmm. I was like, that is so awesome, I want to do that at some point. And I ended up like having a bit of that in this film, which is that's from Westflix, like that's crazy. But like just so it's influential, like as an artist you're influenced by everything you've seen before. So
yeah. Okay, if you could describe Westflix in one word, what would it be?
collaborative. Like, that's just the first thing that comes to my mind, because the event itself was so, I mean, like, I could say like magical too, because it kind of was, but like, but it was my first realization for real, because even I think in video arts, like, and at Harvard West, like, as a school, I think you think so much about like the individual and like, oh my God, I do everything like on my own, all my academics, like it's really like a solo mission. And this was the first time I felt like, wow, this couldn't have been made if it wasn't for all of us together. And the event itself was extremely collaborative. The actual like day after talking to people was collaborative, and filmmaking, it's like in general, and when this past short that I was on was insane. Like, you have to lean on everybody, and I think anyone who wants to be in the film world realizes that very quickly, and Westflix was the epitome of collaboration.
Well said. That was so nicely put. Okay, so those are all my like prefixed questions, but do you have anything you want to add? Or like, you know what? Let me make up a question on the spot. What would you say to like people who are like submitting their films to Westflix, or who like are directing the festival? Like, what advice would you give based on your own experience with it?
I would say for people submitting, because I just remember from my own, this is me just being a creative back in high school and thinking about what I made, was I was so focused on what was out there and um, kind of what I was limited to, that I didn't realize how much you can do with so little, and that pushing those boundaries. And if you're interested in something and trying something, like, do it. But also, if it's super weird and like you're very drawn to it, like, and you want to write it and no one else gets it, that's okay. Like do it. Like, just get it out there, and like something will stick at the end of the day. And honestly, if it doesn't, like, that's what is so beautiful about art, is that like there's so many facets to it, and it doesn't have to be like a mass marketable big budget film. Like, it can be personal. And then I guess for people directing, this is just like, be in it, and it's such a special time, and connect with as many people as you can. I think that's one thing I kind of regret, is not getting everybody's numbers, but connections are so valuable. And
Yeah.
like, it's crazy that they're there, right there, and talking to people, and just, I don't know, from like yeah, people are great, humans are amazing, and creative individuals are the best. And the day after is the time to talk and get to know people and keep in touch with them.